Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Regis and Jahala from hard rock band Drown the Deep. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. Thanks for having us on your show, Randy.
You are my sweet alibi. Kiss me, baby, bye-bye. Zombies cannot love you. We're just a drug and I'm done getting high. Confusion, persuasion, you're such a contagion. Toxic blood runs in your veins. Poison cells this flesh contains. Drew me in, led me on, wound me through contagion. Diamonds in my soul. I'm gonna tear you apart to make me whole.
I just wanted to start out by getting into like what got you into music. Was there like something like a band or a song, and you're like, "Hey, I want to sing, I want to play guitar." What inspired you to actually pursue music at the beginning?
I guess I'll go. The very first inspiration I had for doing music was actually my uncle. Um, I grew up seeing him in musicals and singing in, church choir and a whole bunch of different things. So he was kind of that first personal connection that I wanted to emulate, and my introduction to the world of musicals and jazz and blues. And that's how I got started in musical theater and opening up the talent show at the national anthem in kindergarten. So, been in it for a while, but yeah, my journey into rock came years later as a teenager, discovering the harder genres. And once I heard those, I was like, now that's what I want to do.
That's a great point. You bring up family because I always forget to mention my dad used to book bands in the 70s. And so I'd look through the newspaper and see like all the local bands. And back then it was like super, like you'd never have a jukebox. Like you had every bar had a live band, even on the weeknights. But my dad he used to book a lot of bands in Pittsburgh. And so yeah, that was kind of like my most early introduction, and then listening to some stuff that he used to listen to, Bee Gees and the Doors and things like that. But hearing Eruption, somebody played Eruption for me the first time from Van Halen, and it was like, that's a guitar, and I was like, oh my god, that's a guitar, that's cool, that's awesome, that's what I want to do. And ever since I dreamt about having Floyd Roses and doing dive bombs and all those things, so kind of I'm still addicted to doing dive bombs and Floyd Rose. So but yeah, that was the big one for me. And then yeah, Wayne's not here, but he and I were really into Van. We went through our whole Van Halen phase, in the '80s, and he is a big Alex Van Halen fan, and so I grew up with our drummer Wayne, and we played Van Halen songs most of our teen years in his basement, over and over again.
And they still play them a lot during practice.
It's a running joke. Anytime we have a pause during our practices, me and Wayne is all he's got to do is just start playing the Hot for Teacher drums, and I just go into it, and we just start doing that. Yeah, even Jahala's like, "Is that a Van Halen song?" Of course, it's a Van Halen song. When there's like we do some deeper cuts, from Van Halen 2 or something like that, and she's like, "That's got to be Van Halen." I'm like, "It's a Van Halen song, yeah." Or actually, we had the keyboard out. We actually started introducing a keyboard last practice, And I immediately started playing, trying to play Sunday afternoon in the park because Wayne used to rock that. It was so cool. I'd hear him outside. I lived down the street from him. I could hear it outside. Him just doing that drum beat from that song, and he would play along with the record. He had a stereo in his basement. Yeah, still to this day, still trying to replicate Van Halen. So
Do you ever join in and sing on anything?
Sometimes I don't know nearly as much Van Halen. We've gone through Take Your Whiskey Home a few times.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She likes the blues stuff and does a great job at the blues singing. So someday we're going to get that together and do that out. I think it's going to happen one of these days.
Now, can you name a few of your musical influences?
I'd say biggest musical influences, I would say Lizzie Hale of Hailstorm. Um, Growing up, some of the biggest first influences for me were generally female vocalists with strong voices. So, and being in musical theater and jazz and stuff, it was vocalists like Billie Holiday and Liza Minnelli. Um, and then getting more into some of the harder genres, I was influenced by, well, he's not quite fully a harder, like a hard, exactly a hard rock, but David Bowie was a big one. And in more recent years, since I wasn't introduced to them till I guess maybe 10 years ago now or so, Steve Whiteman of Kix.
Yeah, I love Kicks. I love Kicks.
Oh, you want me to go into that? So I took some voice lessons with Steve, and that's kind of well, I heard a couple of their songs beforehand. Lizzie Hale did a blog post a while ago, talking about some tips for vocalists, and some of them I already knew because I've been singing as long as I have. So, drink plenty of water, get plenty of rest, all that kind of stuff. And she said she took some vocal lessons with Steve Whiteman. So I looked him up. That was kind of my introduction to Kicks, and found out that he was giving lessons out towards the Philly area. So I drove out there a couple of times, took some lessons with him. And then this year, Regis and I went to go see their farewell show in Maryland, which was really cool. But I mean, he's still, even at their farewell show, still rocking it. He knew how to take care of his voice, and I learned a lot from him. It is tough. It's becoming easier, but it's difficult to find vocal teachers that will actually work with you on those kinds of techniques, the harder stuff, the screaming vocals and expanded range, and what some vocal teachers call belting or whatever, just all those different techniques in order to do it right and not damage your voice. A lot of that I just kind of had to figure out over the years. But then taking lessons with Steve helped a lot, and I did a class and a private lesson with Melissa Cross as well, and all of those things really help. I mean, we do our shows, and I still get it after some of our shows. People asking me, "Oh, you can still talk afterwards?" It's like, well, yeah, it's nothing I'm doing up there is damaging in any way whatsoever. If it is, then you shouldn't be doing it. You gotta find the right way to do everything.
Now, Regis, who are some of your musical influences?
Well, like we already talked about, Eddie Van Halen was the biggest one for me. I dreamt about, like I said, Floyd Rose and dive bombs, and as soon as I learned how to do tapping and all that, I just spent my whole youth doing that. But yeah, yeah, like we talked about earlier too, George Lynch. Yeah, next to my George Lynch guitar is my Jakey Lee inspired guitar. So yeah, this is sort of my wall of inspiration here. So yeah, huge Jakey Lee fan. Just like he kind of blew my mind after leaving Ozzy and going with Badlands, and some of the stuff that he did in Badlands, just with the blues and low gain, what he could do with like less gain on a guitar was always just amazing to me too. So I always wanted to emulate that. Prince was a big. The Purple Rain was a. That's what, if you've seen our show, we do Purple Rain, and that was really because yeah, me and Wayne Our drummer, like I was saying, we grew up together and we used to watch Purple Rain. We wanted to be rock stars, sing to Apollonia out in the audience, and be cool like him. And, I've always loved players like him and Jimi Hendrix and things like that Stevie Ray Vaughan, that like, it looks effortless. They play, the music almost just comes out of them. Some of them sing at the same time, and Hendrix is just moving the guitar around, and it's just so fluid. And those are kind of my biggest influences, players who just are like expressing. It just seems to be oozing out of them. They're not trying hard, but just such amazing noises are coming out. And yeah, the one moment too that always burned in my mind, when I saw Ozzy Osbourne grab Jakey Lee by the hair and drag him across the stage while he was doing a lead. You ever see that video? When I saw that when I was a kid, I was like, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen. He's bending the neck and howling the guitar, and Ozzy's grabbing him by his hair and dragging him across. I was like, that's just showmanship. He's playing. Ozzy's crazy. Jake's playing. It just blew my mind. I'm like, I want to perform like that. I want to play like that. So, yeah, those kind of early '80s, hair band kind of guys are my big thing. Yeah, anybody who had some swagger while they played. I appreciate some of the guys who hover over their guitar and are very accurate, but I just love the guys that just seem like to have a natural talent, and it just comes out of them.
Okay. Can you tell me how Drown the Deep formed?
Yeah, so Regis and I started talking in the hallway at work one day. We worked at the same company at the time, and started talking about music. I mentioned I'd taken some voice lessons with Steve Whiteman of Kicks, and he knew who that was, which a lot of people I mentioned that to are like, "Who's that? What are you talking about?" So it was really cool. He knew who that was, and I went out to see him play with the band he was in at the time, and I immediately thought, I need this guy for my band. And I need to finally get my band up off the ground. So I've been working in isolation basically for a long time with snippets of songs, trying to get stuff done, but I am sadly no Prince or Trent Reznor, or I can't just write everything myself. Um, so yeah, we started jamming together in the apartment that I had at the time, and it clicked. It worked really well. And then we had our first jam session with Wayne, because Rich said he knew a drummer that he wanted to bring in. So yeah, and we played Purple Rain for the first time during that, because that was one we all knew.
Yeah, it was yeah, Kicks and Cold Blood and all that. Grew up on all that, and I was like, how do you know? Especially being in medical devices, we're just in the hallway at work, just happen to be talking about music, and she brings up Kicks, and that's the last thing I was thinking of ever. And she mentioned it, and I'm like, when you're in a business area, business kind of thing, you hide your tattoos, and like you're, in a very, very business kind of thing. But as soon as you meet like another like metalhead or somebody else is in the rock, you're like, that's my person. I could like hook up with and like talk about music with, and we can geek out about rock music. It's like the guy on the street you see with the cool T-shirt, like I know that band. And it was kind of the same thing. So we started talking about that. And yeah, Jahala actually, she won't mention, but yeah, she had a lot of music already written. So I was listening to a lot of her stuff, and a lot of stuff on synth and piano, and then all of her vocals. And it was such a cool thing to do. I've never actually really, I've been in cover bands my whole life, but I've written a couple originals here and there, but never really like sat down and saying we're gonna write a bunch of original music. But it was great. I mean, with all of her ideas, they were very inspiring, and having heard the piano parts behind them, so I kind of knew what she wanted to do, but I kind of rocked them up a little bit with, had to be more guitar based, of course, if we're going to be a rock band. So, and that worked out great. And that was before the pandemic. That was just before the pandemic. And then the pandemic broke out, and we were we were writing music in isolation anyway. So yeah, I got this rig that I'm talking to you on to match her, so we both can record separately, and we passed tracks back and forth, and we got together and recorded some things, and I bought a bunch of recording software that's the same Cubase that she has, and so we can have compatible software and pass files back and forth, or got together and recorded some stuff. And then, yeah, we set a deadline of the end of 2020 to finish mixing everything and just get something out on Spotify. So, yeah, we released 10 songs. What was that? I can't remember how many. Yeah, it was New Year's Eve night, 2020. 7, something like that. Yeah, 7 or 10, something like that. But yeah, 2020. She said that she's a project manager, so we set a deadline. Which is good. Just like work, I'm succumb to the wills of a project manager. Otherwise, you never get anything done. So I appreciate what they do. But yeah, I mean, we set a deadline, and we hit the deadline. It was up till midnight, New Year's Eve, mixing some songs until we felt like we were done. So yeah, we finally got it out in 2021. So we got started and started pulling people in mid-year. Like I said, we pulled in Wayne, started actually jamming these songs, and then rearranging some parts, and working out different arrangements and things like that with the actual people.
So you recorded it yourself, no outside producer or anything like that?
For the first round, yeah. For the studio album we came out this year, that was our first time getting into a studio for a full album. We went in once before for a single. But yeah, it's been an interesting learning experience.
Late than never, man. Sorry.
There's Wayne.
And we've been on a roll since. I mean, we're taking a winter break now from shows to write because we have so much stuff that's in progress. I think almost every practice session we wind up writing, even if it's just like a little lick of something new comes out. We started a new song this last weekend. So there's definitely no shortage of ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
What about a Van Halen type medley?
Right, exactly. Yeah, of course, Wayne. We were telling about our Van Halen influence. So,
Oh yeah. Started from a long, long time ago. It's fun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe do a medley, huh?
I'm always up for that.
Yeah, even give Jahala a break. We could just do the beginning of Hot for Teacher or whatever, just like we do in practice. So.
Now, how did you come up with the name for the band?
I had the name along with the song drafts that I had together. So when Reach and I first started working on the songs, I asked him, I said, if you want to change it, I'm open to that. This is what I've been working with, but I got to be open to that collaboration. And he said he liked it, so we kept it.
Is there any special meaning behind it?
Yeah, I've got to finesse the elevator pitch to try to not make it so long-winded trying to explain. But basically, just I think one thing we all have in common in our group is that we want to connect with our audience. We want to connect with the people, that we're playing for and to. And our influences are similar in that the people we all looked up to make their playing look effortless while killing it and also bring that emotion. So a lot of that is, sort of drowning in the deep of the emotion that you are working through or expressing through the music.
Yeah, it's funny. That's kind of what I got from it as soon as she told me the name, and that's why I was like, no, that's great. People ask about it. It's a little bit of an enigma. People can kind of maybe bring what they want to it. We talk about that a lot too. Music should be, ambiguous enough that people can maybe connect to it and read into it what they want to read into it too. And yeah, like she said, we're all on the same page about really, I like to show off and everything, but really at the end of the day, it's about like writing music. What's that?
You don't say. No,
It's about writing music that connects with people. And some of the greatest compliments we've had are like, man, that gave me chills. Or there was one show, I can't remember, the one girl said something about, I think I started crying, she started crying or something, and it's just like, it's just amazing to be able to do that, with your music, and even when writing, that's always trying to find that note that does that. You're playing a melody, and then you add that little half step in there, and kind of tweaks your little emotions there a second. And that's why I just love that stuff. So, I think we all do. And yeah, the whole goal of it really is just to convey some kind of emotion.
Okay. What city are you based out of?
Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah, me and Wayne grew up on the south side. He's still there. I'm in the North Hills. Jahala's in Forest Hills area. So yeah, kind of the we practice in the Forest in Jahala's place. So kind of we're Forest Hills based, I guess.
Okay. I want to dig in a couple of your songs. Contagion. Like, I like right after like the guitar solo at the beginning, there's like a drum breakdown where you go into confusion, persuasion, you're such a contagion, and then it like kicks in. Can you tell me how you came up with that structure?
Go ahead, Jahal.
Oh no, this is on you guys. You guys are the instrumentalists.
Yeah, actually, that song is always a little bit like kind of special to me. It was one of the first ones we wrote from scratch. Um, I bought a 5150 amp, and I had it in my living room, and I was playing that main riff to myself, and it was one of the first things I recorded and put up on our Dropbox for Jahala to start writing something too. And like I said, one's kind of special because that was one that was her and I wrote from scratch. But yeah, that's always the arrangements are always the tricky thing, And luckily we have Cubase. I still kind of remember that, there was a lot of times we sat together and it's like, well, that typical verse chorus, like what should be next, how many of these should we do? But a lot of times I'll drop out everything, and those cool little breaks kind of refreshing, and then everything comes in and hammers, and it accentuates that part that comes in, So I think that's usually we've done that in a few couple places in some songs where, yeah, you kind of drop the thing out and then little drum fill brings the song back in. And then, yeah, she adds some killer vocals that just like hammer it. And it's like, yeah, that's it. That's awesome. Yeah, I see you scrunching your face. Like, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for from people is like, yeah, like, get it.
Yeah. And sometimes looking back on the writing process, even I wonder how did I come up with that? I don't know. It's definitely like a muse inspiration process where you have to be in the right frame of mind for writing, and sometimes it just clicks, and yeah.
Yeah, it's the best when you can hear the next part coming too, when you write something, but then you're going through it and you're like, wait, I hear the next part going, dun 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 dun, dun, and it starts to write itself almost as it goes along, and those are like the great ones. But yeah, it's what's really fun is I'll just come up with some stuff, or Jahala will come up with some stuff, and then her stuff will inspire me to write another part, and and it just keeps kind of ping ponging back and forth most of the time. It's great, that she plays piano and sings, and I'm mostly play guitar. Yeah, and we come up with like a lot of cool stuff, and sometimes she just comes up with vocal stuff. I actually was just looking at the Dropbox. We have a Dropbox that we just put all of our ideas in, and you can kind of sift through them, or I'll take them and start mapping them out into songs sometimes. We've got one we're really excited for people to hear, that we're kind of finishing the arrangement up just this Saturday. We were kind of just figuring out the final arrangement for it, and I need to maybe this weekend get all the pieces in place, and then we can start jamming on it as a band and really finish it up. So.
Confusion, persuasion, you're such a contagion. Don't let 'em make you playing games. I see the truth in your veins. Thought you'd make me cry. Only forced goodbye, and now I'm immune to love. Confusion, persuasion, you're such a contagion. Toxic blood runs in your veins. Poison cells this flesh contains. Drew me in, led me on, wound me through contagion. Talons in my soul.
Yeah, it kind of like makes it easier that you guys got a Dropbox. You could like work on it in your own time, you know?
Yeah, we have the X32 in-ear system. You can record directly what we're playing to that. So sometimes we'll just run a USB stick the whole time and then dump that file, and I'll bring it into Audacity and chop it up or find pieces, or Jahala will find pieces, and yeah, she'll take our live stuff and cut and paste it into an arrangement and say, here's the new song. Did you listen to it? We'll text each other and we're like, no, I didn't listen to it. So, what do you mean you didn't listen to it? It's awesome.
Yeah, like this last practice, I took a break to go refill my water, and these guys start jamming something new. I start singing along to it while I'm up in my kitchen because again, having in-ears, I can, you can still hear everything walking around. Um, so I come back down, I tell them, don't stop playing. I stick the USB into the X32, start recording it, start singing what I was thinking of, and there's another new song in progress up on the Dropbox.
Yeah. She just texted us the other day. It's like, hey, all the new stuff's up in the Dropbox. Go check it out. So yeah, we've got so many bits and pieces. It's just so exciting. That's what we've been trying to do the past couple of months is buckle down and really hone out at least maybe three more songs. Release an EP or something in the spring here.
Yeah, moving forward, we think we're going to do more of the singles or EP kind of approach. That seems to be what most folks are doing. And I can understand it too, because you get a little bit of a boost every time you put something new out, and it's a little bit easier to focus on one, two, or three songs at a time than, our full 10-song album that we did. It was awesome to get that done, but we're independent. There's no label backing us, and we've all got full-time jobs. So that makes it really, really tough to get into the studio as much as you need to get a full-length album finished and out there.
I know a lot of bands are releasing single, like one each month, and then at the end of like 5, 6 months, they're releasing the whole EP.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool way to go. Yeah, now like on the streaming platforms, they release a single, and you're like, okay, are they going to come out with a new record? And then a couple months later, release another single, and then eventually maybe they'll release. Some bands will release a whole album with some new stuff you haven't heard. Others will just kind of release the whole thing as just an EP of the songs they've been releasing over time. But yeah, it's an interesting model. I definitely feel like after doing a 10-song record, spending 4 months in the studio was way more work than any of us ever thought it was going to be, and more expensive. So, yeah, doing 3 songs, every now and again is definitely a lot easier to digest. But we spent 4 months in the studio doing that record. It was just a lot of work. It was a cool experience. I mean, being a studio player is way different than a live player.
Yeah, we all definitely learned a lot.
Now, you have another song called Black Sun Drive. And Regis, can you tell me about this guitar riff that you came up with for this song? It's like for the verse. I was like, man, that's like that's it. That's the riff, you know.
Huh. Um, for Black Sun Drive, huh? Yeah, some of the it's funny. Like I think Jahala touched on it earlier. It's like how did we like when we listen back to some of the songs? We're like, how did we do this? Like, and where did this come from? Even us, we were like, where did this part come from? And there was a couple of songs I remember trying to come up with another part, and some of them really just kind of came out of, oh, there it is, and it just kind of came out. But yeah, some of them, you kind of just kind of work. You work a little harder on some of them here and there. It's like I kind of, or you walk away from it and take a breath, and then you come back and listen to it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is where it should go. Or go listen to something else, give you a fresh idea. But yeah, I honestly can't remember exactly, uh, what it is. But sometimes as a guitar player, I do feel like I'm trying to play more piano because as a guitar player and like a fan of like the guitar heroes, you spend a lot of time thinking about guitar too much more so than just the song, and it's nice just to kind of sometimes I try to catch myself and just like you can make something simple here, like our song "Darkness in Me." That one was originally started as I'm just going to make a song with some basic chords because there's some really great songs out there that aren't real, overly complex, and just using your standard C's and G's and D's, and you know, and it was cool to put that out there. And by itself, you're kind of like, oh, I've kind of heard that before. Those are the same sort of song. But then when Jahala lays over her melodies, it's our song now. The combination of our pieces make it our song. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't remember exactly how coming up with those parts.
I think that one came out from, again, a practice jam session. A lot of it is Wayne and Regis playing off each other.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, I talk about Van Halen, but like me and Wayne grew up together, so we have that weird connection between musicians where we'll both stop at the exact same time and just out of nowhere, and we just know what each other is doing, and so we'll just vibe. He'll play a rhythm and I'll noodle with the beats between the beats, and then he'll start doing some stuff. We'll get some cool rhythms going, and we still play hours on the same groove, just like we did when we were kids, man. Like, we'll just keep going. That's when Jayla went up to go get a drink that day, we were just grooving on some stuff, and yeah, just in the zone. And then yeah, I didn't know she was even listening. I always forget that we have our in ears, and you can hear what everybody's talking about when you go to the bathroom and everything. But yeah, she comes down. What's that?
Dude, I was like, God damn.
But yeah, it's such a fun process, and it's just really such a for me, it's such an honor to like play with my friends Wayne and Jahala and come up with new music and create music in general. You're creating something that didn't exist before, and you're transmitting an emotion, a feeling to people. And the couple. I mean, there's a few times when people are singing our lyrics back to us now, and man, it's just it's the coolest thing in the world. I'm so grateful for it.
Hands in the dirt, facing the wind. Mind in the gutter, never sleep again. Took me down, called it a win. Climbing back up, never sleep again. You wanna break me? Come on and make me. When you drown me, I'm gonna rise again. Let it flash, black as the night. Stumble down the road like sun in the sky. See my face, dreaming at night. No one to listen, black sun in the sky. You wanna break me? Come on and make me.
Wayne, what are some of the songs that you like like? This is my favorite drum part I put on this song.
I would say Highway for sure. That was probably the first one we all collectively, like came together on, and that one part, the main part, where I kind of roll off what Regis is playing, and that was like my favorite part. It just everything just really clicked really well, and that was I would say that's probably the best one for me that comes to mind.
Yeah, I still remember that writing that song. We were just grooving on some stuff in practice, and I have no idea where it was coming from. Just played something. We have kind of a running joke. It's like, oh, there's a new song. You'll just be grooving on something, some small parts. Like, hurry up, somebody record that. Did anybody record it? And we'll run, grab this USB stick and record it. Yeah. And I still remember that one though. I remember just it came out of nowhere and we were rocking that. Yeah, and there's those times when Wayne will do a cymbal grab or just the exact thing I'm thinking in my mind, and I just lose my mind. I'm just like, "That's it! You're right."
I can tell when I looks up and I'm like, oh, I did something right.
Driver to keep the sun at my back. Hours like road signs can't keep track. Horizon shimmers in the days. Do I drive to hell on these highways? Down the highway of my darkest days. Pendulum swings sounds in the sideways. Staring down the headlights of my life. Catch me in between just like a knife.
It's like you're shooting it out of your mind to him. Hey, do this.
Yeah, he'll just come right in or like there was a couple. He did a cymbal grab on the one song. I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly what I had in my mind. That's what should have been there.
It's really cool just to watch the two of them sometimes doing all that stuff. Like, yeah, you can see that connection between the two of them when they're playing.
Awesome. What's your plans for the upcoming year?
So the focus for 2024 is shows out of the area. We feel like we've gotten a pretty good following here. You know, we've played some really great shows. We've got some great network with other bands and promoters and stuff in the Pittsburgh area. So we really want to focus on getting out to other areas regionally, try to do one or two mini tours as well, potentially, and release new music as well. Have, you know, a couple singles, maybe an EP or two. We have no shortage of ideas. It's just buckling down and getting them finished up and then recorded. So yeah, it's new music, new gigs, new places. I just keep doing what we're doing and see how far we can take it. Because I know for me, I would say this is definitely one of the best experiences of my life. The best musicians I've played with, the best gigs I've played. It's been a blast, and I'm just really excited to see what we're able to do with it.
Yeah, it's been cool to get out of the area, and we've gotten a lot of good contacts and a lot of great friends now up in the Erie scene. And then we played Cleveland. There's such really great. It's interesting. I've been in the cover band scene for a while, my whole life in Pittsburgh, but just the original music scene is so supportive. And the bands we've made contact with in Erie, and here in Pittsburgh, and the guys in Cleveland, everybody's just so damn supportive, and it feels much more like a supportive community. We're all in it together. We're all trying to, it's not as much of a competition. It's just, we're all in it together. It's hard to get people out to see original music. We all get it. We're all trying to drum up enough people to check out our music. And there's great music out there for us too. We've met so many great people like Ira and Victoria Fire and Ghost Like Labyrinth, and they're great musicians. They have great songs. I love their music just as much as I love any big musician, and it's just cool to play with them. And, they say the same about us, and it's just so supportive. It's an awesome experience.
Okay. Where can we get a hold of you? Facebook, Instagram?
All those places. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We technically have a TikTok account, but we don't really do much on there. It's hard to keep up with all the social media, especially the demand that there is out there for it. And we kind of made a collective decision there that the focus for us really is the music. And I know you have to do a certain amount of, being present and putting posts out there, but we're not going to try to focus so much on those numbers or having a certain amount of posts or anything like that, because it needs to be more organic and it's really about the music for us. So that's going to be our focus. But yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, fairly active on both of those. We've got a website. Whenever we have shows upcoming that we're selling tickets for, they're up on there. We will eventually get some merch up on the website as well. We do have our CD up there right now, but we'll be getting more merch up there. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that pretty much covers it. Our music's out on all the major streaming platforms. So we're in all the big places you'd think to look for a band, I would say.
And it's drownthedeep.com.
Yep.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank you. Like I said, I'm glad you reached out and we talked the other night at the show. We always appreciated your taking a video of us and putting us on the cold, recording the cold show, and then adding us to your section there too. Really appreciate it. You did a really nice job on that. So yeah, we appreciate your support on that show. That was a great time.
Yeah, thank you.